Hello and welcome to Lesson 2 of the Learn Persian with Chai and Conversation reading and writing program. So in the first lesson, we went over the entire Persian alphabet and we also learned the 6 vowel sounds in Persian writing. So today we're going to really go in depth with one of those vowels and learn the 4 most popular consonants in the alphabet. And we're going to learn how that one vowel interacts with those 4 popular consonants. So first, our vowel of the day is going to be ah. And as you remember in the last lesson, there's 2 versions of this letter. When it comes in the beginning of a word, it has a hat on it. Hat in Persian is kola. So this is an ah with a kola. And if it's in the middle or at the end of a word, it's just a straight line like that. So we have our 4 most popular consonants, the ones that we hear most often in the Persian language. The first of those is be, and that's be bozorg, the big version, and be kuchik, the small version. So kind of like the English alphabet, you have A, B, A, be, same thing. The second most popular consonant in the Persian language is te. And as you can see, as we said in the last lesson, where you place your dots is very important in the Persian language. So when we have the same base, we put a 1 dot underneath it, it's a be. When we put the 2 dots above it, te. Third, we have the letter pe. And again, same base, 3 dots below it. And again, this is pe bozorg, the big version. So this will be the version of the letter that you'll see if it comes at the end of a word. If it's in the middle or at the beginning of a word, you have the kuchik version. So pe bozorg, pe kuchik. And the last letter we're going to learn today is de. That's also a very popular letter. We went over be and de in our last lesson, so hopefully you remember those. So again, let's go over these. First letter is a, and that's the bozorg version, and with the kola, and this is the small version. This letter, be. This letter with the 2 dots above it, te. Next, we have pe, 3 dots below. And finally, and this doesn't have a bozorg and little version like we learned last time, is a de. And again, as you're watching me write these, you should be noting these because you're going to practice writing in the same way. You're going to write from right to left. So top to bottom, right to left. That's how your hand should go. And again, you should be practicing that early on so that you will get used to it. So now we're going to see how these consonants interact with our vowel of the day. And again, we're going to be taking this nice and slowly, just as we did with the last lesson. We're going to really get it down. So if you have an a bozorg with the be right afterwards, it becomes ab. And like we said last time, ab is a real word. It means water. Next, if we have an a followed by a te, that becomes ot. That's not a real word. So some of these are real words, and I'll let you know when they are. And then some of them are just made up so that we can practice how to read. Next, if we have a with the pe right afterwards, becomes up. And finally, if we have an a and a de right afterwards, that becomes odd. Now let's reverse these. if we have a be followed by an a, it becomes ba. And that's a real word also. It means with. So I'm writing it with two different colors just so you can see the separation of the word. But remember, whether it's handwritten or in print, Persian writing is always connected, as opposed to English writing that sometimes we have cursive where it's connected, but print is always disconnected. In Persian writing, it's always connected. So next, we have a te followed by an a. And again, avoid the temptation of writing the way we would in English. We would probably go down with this, but because this is one, it's going to go in this direction. So you're going to want to practice it the same way. So a te with an a is ta. Next, the letter pe with an a becomes pa. And you might recognize that word. It means foot. So pe and a, pa. Next, a de with an a is da. Now we're going to do a kind of different combination. So let's start with the a. And again, if a is in the beginning of a word, it has the hat. Next, a be followed by an a, ba. Next, if we have an a followed by a te and an a ta. An a followed by a pe followed by an a becomes pa. And finally, you should get the hang of this by now. An a with a de and an a becomes da. So again, another thing that this shows is some letters don't connect at all and other letters do connect. And don't spend too much time worrying about this because that comes completely just with practice. So the more you see it, the more you'll just intuitively know which letters connect and which don't. So now let's go over all these again. I'll point to it. You say what it is. Ob. This one. At. This one. Up. And finally, odd. Then the opposite way around, ba. Next, ta. Next, pa. And finally, da. And these exercises appear the same way in your PDF guide, so when you print it, you'll see it with the different colors. And then when we ask you to practice writing, they'll be with the same color, so you can practice differentiating the letters yourself. So here, ba. Next, ta. Next, pa. And finally, da. All right. So moving ahead, we're going to practice using the consonants that we know from this lesson and combining them in different configurations with that same a vowel. So first, a be and a a and a de becomes bad, and that means wind. So real words now. A te with an a and a be becomes tub, and that is a swing. Next, a pe with an A and a T is pot, and that means your foot, pot. And finally, a D with an A and a D, dod, and that means gave in the third person, dod. Okay, so those are our 3-letter words. Now let's take it one more step and do 4-letter words. So next we're going to do an A with a hat because it's the first letter. De, A, and a De. So that becomes Abad, and that means prosperous. De, A, oop, forgot my dot. Be, A, ba, and that's a very important word to know, and it means dad, father, baba. So one of the first words you learn how to write. The next one is ta, and slang for goodbye, ta. And finally, de, a, de, a becomes da, and that's a made-up word. It's just for practicing reading, da. So again, let's go over all these words together. The first one, bod. And remember, this shows up in our PDF guide whenever we have this line over an A that represents that ah sound, ah vowel. Te, a, be, tub. Pe, a, te, pot, your foot. De, a, de, dod, gave. Next, a, be, a, de, abad, green, prosperous. Be, a, baba, father. Te, a, ta, so long. And finally, de, a, da. So there you have it. That's lesson 2 of our reading and writing program. So in this lesson, we learned 4 new consonants. Please print out your PDF guide. Practice writing it over and over again. Remember, there's a lot of different ways that our brain takes in information. One of the most important is that physical act of writing will help you to memorize these letters. And we learned how to combine them with this vowel A. And next time we're going to add a couple more consonants. Again, we're taking this really nice and slowly so that you can really get it down in your brain before we move forward. And before you know it, you're going to be reading and writing like a champ. So join us next time. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much for watching the Learn Persian with Chai and Conversation reading and writing program. As I mentioned in the video, this video is just one part of the complete reading and writing system that we've created. And you can find all of our bonus materials, which include reading practices and writing practices, on our website. The link is below, chaiandconversation.com. In addition to our reading and writing program, we have a comprehensive conversational Persian course where we teach you how to speak conversational Persian the way actual Iranians do, not informal Persian that you read. And so that's available on the website, as well as our reading and writing program. So if you just go on there, you can see all the materials that we've created over the last 10 years, and hopefully we'll see you there.